Who is Dr. Destroyo?
Who is Dr. Destroyo?
Who is Dr. Destroyo?
Who is Dr. Destroyo?
Who is Dr.
Who is Dr. Destroyo? Who is Dr. Destroyo?
Who is Dr. Destroyo?
Who is Dr. Destroyo?
I am Dr. Destroyo. From the Death by Media Man podcast show, it's Dr. Destroyo. The story of the world's first true supervillain. We're telling Dr. Destroyo in sequence every 2 weeks. So if you haven't listened to the first episodes, go back and start there. Then, this will all make a lot more sense. Chapter 11. Yeah, I slept. Sort of. I had nightmares I couldn't really remember. They were just shapes and sensations. I was being chased or devoured. I was swept up by something immense, something infinitely large and impossibly awful. I woke up all knotted and twitchy on the couch. That's how my grandmother used to sleep when she got too old to go up and down the stairs to her bed every night. She'd curl up like a frail little bird and sleep sitting on her couch in front of the TV. I looked around the apartment, trying to remember something that was preoccupying my mind in a way that I couldn't quite remember. Was it just those dreams? I tried to remember the images that had troubled me while I'd slept, but they were fading away from my conscious mind like little mental roaches scattering under the darker bits of my subconsciousness as the lights came up in the front part of the cerebellum. Everything felt cold and far away, like sinking into the deepest part of the sea. Nothing felt right, but I didn't know why. I went into the bathroom and took a piss, and then went to try to look at myself in the mirror. I tried, but I couldn't seem to see myself. I didn't seem to be there anymore. It was like I couldn't wake up. It was like I was trapped in a nightmare dream sequence or some sort of shitty drug trip. When I looked in the mirror, I saw through myself. I saw the wall behind my head. I saw the nothingness that I was. I'd been staring into the emptiness of the bathroom mirror for a while when it all came back to me. The voices, the shock, the smell of burning flesh, and the sound of Tom's neck snapping and leaning on the baton until it stopped sparking, and the smell of burning meat, and the sounds of Tom dying. I couldn't cry anymore. I was all cried out. I tried laughing, but that didn't feel right either, so eventually I just went back to staring at the vacant hole in the mirror where I should have been, staring at the idea of what I'd seen and done. Yeah, sure, said some voice deep within my skull. Whatever. I wandered back to the kitchen where I made a fresh pot of coffee. I moved myself around Tom's coffee mug, keeping my distance from it, as though it were radioactive, like it was a ticking time bomb, a sleeping monster that could awaken at any moment, like it could devour me whole. I made myself a pot of coffee that was way too strong, and then I started drinking it while it was still way too hot. The bitter liquid burned my mouth, and I liked that. So I kept doing it, my tongue wincing away. I went to the living room and the couch. I put the TV back on, cycling through the channels. I clicked around that way for a few hours, not really watching anything. If I was hungry, I didn't know about it. I just looked at the space occupied by the television set, and I tried not to think. Whatever was on, I wasn't watching it. I wasn't watching anything. Not until it was 6 p.m. and the news came on. At 6 in the evening, the local news came on and told a story I knew something about. Police are saying that they cannot yet release the identities of the two men found dead in a downtown alley this morning. What is known is that one of the bodies was dressed in the costume of the local real-life crime fighter, Mr. Scorpio. We'll have more on this very bizarre story as it develops. The newscaster was a young woman with light blue eyeshadow. She seemed impartial but friendly, and her friendliness made her sound almost sympathetic to me. Or maybe she was mocking me. I began to suspect that she could see through the screen to the pathetic display of me on my couch. Her dark eyes, ringed with azure shadows, looked into mine. We'll have more for you on this very bizarre story as it develops, she told me. Or maybe there was an echo in the room, or in my mind. The news moved on to the next story and I muted the TV. Something about school lunches or school taxes or a school's tax on lunches or something. I sat there, as mute as the television. Just like that, I'd made the news. I was big time. I was one of the lead stories, locally. I'd made it onto the television set, onto the other side of the screen. Or at least my story was there. Some fictional aspect of me that had been birthed through strange violence and dorky masks. Something had happened. Something had started. I sat on the couch and tried to be calm. When that failed, I tried to at least be numb. I looked around the apartment, trying to remember something. Something that was preoccupying my mind in a way that I couldn't quite remember. Was it just those dreams? I tried to remember the images that had troubled me while I'd slept, but they were fading away from my conscious mind like little mental roaches scattering under the darker bits of my subconsciousness as the lights came up in the front part of the cerebellum. Chapter 12. Across the apartment, in my room, sat my computer. I glared at it through the wall and my fingertips started to twitch. Well, I mumbled out loud to myself, because that's what crazy people never do. There it is. You want to find out what people know, what they think, just go over there and look. I sat on the couch for another 20 minutes. I didn't look at the TV. I just stared at my computer, which was in the other room. I looked at the wall like my gaze was going to eventually erode a hole straight through it. 20 minutes went by. They meant nothing to me. Time meant nothing to me. I could kill time as easily as I could kill an asshole in a back alley. At some point, though, I guess I stood up. My legs ached because I hadn't used them much in the past day and a half. I hadn't had anything to eat. I'd swallowed about a cup of coffee, but that was hours ago. I felt like shit, and my stomach was making weird sounds. Gradually, I forced myself to walk over to my computer. I wanted to see what the internet had to say about my story. I booted up my web browser and checked out a few news sites. I started locally and then ranged out a bit further. I skimmed the headlines and then probed a little deeper, picking at facts like a hungry dog gnawing the gristle off a bone. Here's some of the websites and some of the headlines. TerminalCity.ca.
Superhero battle rocks downtown.
TheNationalGuardian.ca.
Hero slain saving city.
TheDailySun.com.
The public figure known as Mr. Scorpio was discovered today apparently executed with his own weapon.
TheStar.com.
His assailant was reportedly also dressed in a costume and was carrying some sort of incendiary device, possibly a bomb.
GlobeandPost.ca.
A spokesman for the police has suggested that mental illness may have played a role in the homicides.
They didn't know who I was, but I knew that was me they were writing about. That was my story, my life they were theorizing about. It was all very meta, very surreal. It was like it was all happening to somebody else, but now I was somebody else. I wasn't just me. I was somebody else, too. It was weird enough reading the articles, but the comments people were leaving were even worse, even weirder. People say you shouldn't ever bother reading the comments people leave online, but I had to see what they were saying. I had to know. It was like an itch under my skin that I had to dig out. Coyote 23. This was bound to happen, and now all the rules are off. Costumed heroes and villains are officially killing each other in the night. We're through the looking glass here, people. Username DarkKnight666. You will be avenged, Mr. Scorpio. The villains who brought you down will be brought to justice. You will have your revengeance. Username AmyX. So wait, but he's not really dead, right? Because superheroes don't die. They just go away for a few months and then come back with another costume, right? Username StormCloud99. Fake. This is all fake. Can't you idiots see that? Dead bodies, superheroes. This is just the cops trying to cover up one more murder they can't solve because this city has fallen to shit and nobody can do anything about it. Username Wuzzy Weasel. I don't get it. What are they trying to sell us? Like, this is just a big media stunt for something, right? Is it a movie? Is it coming out soon? Who's in it? When do we know what we can buy? Username YouNuNu. This is how the apocalypse starts, okay? This is part 1, and in part 2, there's going to be bodies on fire falling from the sky. People are going to be dying, and it's not going to be funny. It's going to be all out of our control. It's going to be chaos, and it's going to be like a living hell. You won't know who will be next. None of us will. The president will lose control. The police will lose control. Things are going to slide in all directions. We're overturning the order of the soul here. People, get ready for it because it's coming and the future will be murder. Username eatmyass.com. This is so A+ awesome. I want to kill superhero 2. Is it okay if I say that? You cops can't bust me for saying that, right? I'm gonna go kill Spider-Man and you can't stop me. Nobody can. Fuck you. Username Fallen Phoenix. Mr. Scorpio just wanted to help people, and this is what happened to him. Killed by a madman. You people don't deserve a savior. Username Dust Dreamer. Who is crazier do you think? Mr. Scorpio, the lone hero, or the man who killed him? What if Mr. Scorpio was the villain, and the villain was actually saving us all from him? That's the thing. We'll never know. We'll never know what really happened, because they're all dead. Username What Me Worry. Get ready for the weirdest unsolved mystery since Jack the Ripper. Dr. Destroyo is written and produced by Hank Pattison for the Death by Media Man podcast channel. You can subscribe to the Death by Media Man podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. If you enjoyed this, please leave us a like or a comment and tell a friend. And if you'd like to support the Death by Media Man channel with your money, there's a link to our Patreon in the description of this program. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for the next installment of Dr. Destroyo.